Yuri says, any pointers on how to price AI micro tools? Paul says, how many of you guys have done this? Contacted some well-respected local business and offered them marketing for free in return for a review and a case study. It's got to be one of the best way to attract new local business. He says, Frankie Fihn, can you share your tools and tech stack for developing and launching AI tools? Welcome back, everybody. Another weekly Q&A. You smart, talented, attractive agency owner motherfuckers are asking good questions, so I'm doing my best as the internet degenerate I am to answer them. Exciting week we got going on ahead. I don't know what's going on for you guys, but we're having some fun over here. There's some really big shit happening in our world, so I'll tell you guys more about it later. Just quick little announcement before we get rocking and rolling that we are launching another course this week, and this will be about specifically giving you guys tools to help retain clients longer. There's a few kind of things that go into retaining clients. You got to blow them away within the first 24 hours. You got to make data collection frictionless. Helps if you can engineer a fast win. Have like proactive communication and set up a vision and set expectations so that they want to stay for the long term. So we're working on that, and I'll give you guys some details when that's ready and live. That's all I got for you guys this time. But let's do some jamming. My AI music, golden dad guns. Weekly Q&A. Let's bring the flame. All right. Let's get into the shenanigans. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Fihn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. All right. So let's get into your questions, the good stuff. Let's see what we got first. We have Yuri says, any pointers on how to price AI micro tools? So I'm going to give you guys a little hint here on pricing, okay? None of us really know what the fuck we're doing. Here's my hint, okay? So I'll give you guys a couple of parameters. And the biggest reason why is because the first time you price anything, it's very, very hard to come up with an exact number. So I'll give you guys some guidelines and some frameworks on that. But this is why being a generalist sucks, just so you know, because every time you price something is the first time you've done it. Ergo, what do you charge? I got no fucking idea. So like for me, like once I've used the system 12 times and I'm doing it now, I'm selling it for the 13th or the 14th or the 15th time, I've seen what it's done for clients. I see how it changes their lives, etc. So it's a lot easier to go ahead and price it. The flip side of that is the first time you price anything, like, I don't know. So I'll tell you for most of you guys, and this is not an exact answer because a lot of it depends on the tier of client you sell to and the size of the problem you're solving. But for most of you guys, if you're selling agency services, you probably want to be in the $1,000 to like $3,500 a month range. You can be, certainly, we got lots of folks doing more than that, actually significantly more. But having said that, like most of you guys, and the reason is, for services, you are cheaper than a domestic employee. For tools, anywhere from like $5 a month to several $100s a month. Why? Because you're in that range where it just doesn't make sense to cancel. Right? And that's the real win is too many people are thinking about how can I get as much money up front, but what you really want is how can I get it so they never cancel. So I have a mentor, he says if you give most people a real world choice between $1 today or 10 cents a month forever, most people in real world situations will take the $1 today. But what you really want to set yourself up for with micro tools and other applications is 10 cents a month forever. So like, that's why I say from $5 to anywhere to a few $100s a month can, depending on the tool and what it does, it's right in that range where it just makes no fucking sense to cancel. By the way, Facebook's doing that thing again where I don't see your messages, but I love you guys. I appreciate you. I know there's some of you guys out there listening. I know. It shows me like nobody's here, just me hanging out by myself. But I love you guys, and yeah, I'll come back to your comments after. So yeah, the pricing, just so you know, pricing is not static. It is something that you adjust course over time, right? You'll see that people are willing to pay more or less depending on what you do and how you put it out there. So that's my way of saying, like, you don't have to have it figured out the first time you sell it. The real benefit is you're building a tool once that can be sold 1,000 times. So the fact that you get paid anything at all the first time, to me, is gravy. Even if that's $5. Like, if somebody gives you $5 for a tool and you can sell it 1,000,000 fucking times, right? Like, you're winning. So to me, think about how you can resell the tools, not necessarily like, what should I charge that's the maximum I can get the first time through. I know that's not a good answer, but the first time you do anything, you're never really going to know. And a good way, by the way, to find out is to ask the user, say, hey, if we could solve this problem, if we could fix that problem, what would that be worth to you? And you'll get an idea. Sometimes you'll say things like, well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? Well, what did they just tell you? That's a highly, highly valuable solution to them. So, but typically most tools are going to be anywhere from like $5 a month to several hundred. And remember, you can sell them 1,000 times. They take 10 minutes to set up. That's the whole idea for it. Anonymous says, very much stressed. How do I make my first few bucks online? I'm considering using Aweber or GetResponse as an affiliate to make some. What would be the problem solving in the medical billing niche? Thanks everyone in advance for your help. All right. I'm going to tell you something I learned from a book called The Millionaire Fast Lane called MJ DeMarco. Okay? And he said, if you try and figure out how to make money, you will probably not make very much money. Ironically, that's the ironic thing, is the more you think about how do I make some money, and I see this all the time because people get in their heads and they'll go, I could do this, maybe I could do that, and then they end up, having 27,000 ideas and they don't do anything with any of them. And if you really want to make some of that magic internet money, and I'll tell you guys a little story on that. I still remember I was about a year and a half in. A friend of mine had created a real estate course on short sales, which are like a pre-foreclosure thing, and they were very, very popular in 2008 when this course was first launched, 2007, I should say. But anyway, I still remember the first person who gave us $47, like jumping up and down on my chair, like, Matt, we got $47 fucking dollars. Holy shit, somebody paid us. And I remember he said, who? And we came over and we spent an hour trying to Google the person. But they had a really generic name. It was like a Greg Smith or a Dave Johnson or something like that. So we couldn't find the person. And so we never really found out who our first customer is. We wanted to call them, say thank you, but couldn't do it. So it's pretty life-changing the first time that happens and it becomes real. So what MJ DeMarco said is, don't chase money, chase needs. Like, needs in essence are problems. So start with a person you want to help and a problem you want to solve. So you're starting with the tool. How can I make money with Aweber or GetResponse? And that will just lead into a circular go nowhere. But start with, hey, what are problems that they have? And I'll tell you, one of the simplest problems they have is that people inquire, and a lot of times those people need follow-up to convert, and they don't have it. So if you want to stick a tool in there, that's where I would start, saying, hey, you get these people contacting you. Why don't we send them some of your best testimonials and some of your best offers and things like that? And I'll help set it up for you. By the way, I've made money with this exact formula. I'll help set it up for you for free. I just want one condition, that you're going to use my software recommendation to do it, and you got to use my affiliate link on the way in so that I earn a little commission from it. And by the way, most people will take you up on that offer, because if you help them convert their stuff and make offers, and they don't have to do anything or lift a finger, and they don't have to pay you directly for it, and it produces a result in their world. So that's why you got to start with needs, by the way. So one of the biggest things that I do constantly, just so you guys know, is I join communities where my target person hangs out. So that meant when I was in plastic surgery, I talked to plastic surgeons and I networked with them, and I They were a lot more like face-to-face types. Doctors are kind of notoriously hard to reach. When I did this with attorneys, I joined LinkedIn communities and I engaged in discussion and joined listservs. And when I do this with agency owners, for example, or real estate, I join communities where those people hang out and I watch them discuss their problems and I look for needs that I can potentially bring solutions to. Because as MJ DeMarco said, if you try and fucking make money, you ain't going to make any. I just saw a post on Reddit, by the way. I wonder if I could pull this up on my phone. Give me a sec here. I'm going to read it, but I think this will be pretty life-changing for you. Because this was a person going through the exact same challenge as you, trying to make those first internet dollars and having a hard time with it. And they said, there was a real specific change they went through, and I screenshotted it specifically for people like you because I thought it was a really simple thing. And, of course, now that I say that, I can't seem to find it. I just got 10,000 pictures of my kids. That's what I got on my phone. Oh, here it is, maybe. This person says, I finally made my first real online sales. It only took 6 months and 20 failed ideas. I spent the past 6 months trying to make anything work. Courses, tools, cold outreach, services. Most flop. Some got nice feedback, but no real revenue. So I flipped the strategy, $9 instead of $99. One sharp problem solved, no fluff, real feedback before building, simple, fast, and honest. People actually bought. I'm not rich now, but for the first time, I have real data and momentum. Happy to break down. And then there was a follow-up comment where someone said, what was the eureka moment, or was it more an iterative process? He said, honestly, more like frustration built clarity than a single eureka moment. After so many things didn't convert, I stopped trying to be clever and just asked, what's a small, annoying problem people already have or already know they have? That shift alone made everything easier. The $9 part just removed the hesitation. Once people were in, I knew I had something worth growing. So he started with the question, what's a small, annoying problem people already know they have? Okay. A need, as MJ DeMarco would say. So that's my way of saying, you want to make money on the internet? Help people solve problems. Sounds simple, but almost always people start with themselves. Oh, maybe I could sell chatbots. Maybe I could do white label agency. Maybe I could do some AI micro tools. Maybe I could be a TikTok star. Maybe I could sell courses. And as long as you're in that place, you're just going to end up frustrated and you're going to find out nothing's going to work because you're not starting with what the market actually needs and wants. Start with needs. Like that is virtually assured. It's guaranteed that the market is going to need what you want because you started with the need, right? So that's my way of saying like, start with needs. Start with needs. Start with the needs. You do that, by the way, shit's going to work out for you in general. So I hope that's helpful. Hope that's simpler. And I hope that makes your life easier because, it only takes one person to change your fate forever and make those magic internet dollars real. But if you constantly chase, how do I make money? And by the way, I had somebody say to me, a friend of ours, obviously part of the community, Dave Miz, said to me years ago, he was talking about other people, but he might as well have been talking about me. And this was like 2007. We were on a forum together. He said, all these people try all these ways to just like make money online, and they dabble in all of them, and they'll try like 200 different ideas like halfway. He said, if they just picked one idea and like stuck with it, they'd be further along than if they tried 200 ideas just dabbling. And I was like, ugh, that he was talking about me. And that's, by the way, the very beginning when my agency was born, because SEO was selling. Why was I dabbling in all this other shit when I could potentially, do SEO? So start with needs, my man. Start with needs. Stop trying to chase, how can I make $1? Start trying to chase, how can I help people solve problems? And it'll be almost automatic that they'll pay you because you're helping them fix annoying, painful shit. Oh, by the way, just mentioning for the 20th time that Facebook's doing that thing where it doesn't show me which one of you guys is commenting and shit, whatever. That's where I'm at. I will respond to your comments after. Omar says, hey, Frankie Fihn, can you recommend someone who offers white label LinkedIn lead generation services? I'd like to sell this, but I'm worried about delivering it. The answer to that question is Scott Kreese, Krees. You guys can find him on the old Facebook. You can find him on LinkedIn. He's a guy who's probably the easiest and most straightforward and simplest to make LinkedIn lead generation work, and as something you can repackage and resell. Scott's a deal maker, just so you guys know. He ain't like in the agency box. He's hey, if we can create a win-win, let's do it. So I'll just tell you, Talk to Scott, man. Guy's cool. All right. Paul says, this is a question, by the way, I was most looking forward to answering. Again, I don't see your comments and stuff, but whatever. The show goes on. Paul says, how many of you guys have done this? Contacted some well-respected local business and offered them marketing for free in return for a review and a case study. It's got to be one of the best way to attract new local business. All right. So conventional wisdom, by the way, on this exact topic says never, ever, ever do shit for free. And I'm here to say that I think conventional wisdom is fucking wrong. You know what has a guaranteed paycheck on it if you do some work? It's called a job. And we ain't in the job world. We're in the hockey stick growth world, which means often you do stuff up front and not get paid for it, but you get hockey stick income on the, when I say hockey stick, I mean like fast and up, a lot faster than you would make. So a lot of people want to bring that middle class mentality of like, I work an hour, I get paid an hour. I work 2 hours, I get paid 2 hours. I work 3 hours, I get paid 3 hours to entrepreneurship. So the problem with that is a lot of people have had the experience, and this is a very real risk, is they have helped people, done some shit for free, and gotten dick fuck all goose egg out of it. So if you don't want to have dick fuck goose egg all happen to it, we have to be very, very strategic about who we do free shit for and what specifically we do for free. Okay? So let's talk about who not to do free shit for. And it's anyone who asks. If they ask you, it means almost like 99 times out of 100, my sales process is broken, my offers are broken, I want you to build my business for me, and I want you to take all the risk in doing so. So a lot of times, people will use free as a way to beg your way into the door and go, please, let me just do it for a case study. And I'm not against doing shit for free, just so you know. But if you're just begging anyone, you're probably going to choose the wrong person. So who makes the right person? And it's exactly as Paul sort of alluded to, which is people of influence. So I'll give you a simple example of this. And then I want you guys to tell me that working for free is a bad idea. So Justin Brook, who's a friend of ours who's been on the show here, I want to say like 10 years ago, he was trying to get his Facebook ad agency off the ground. And he went to a guy many of you guys have heard of called Russell Brunson. He sent him a box of brownies in the mail and said, I want to run a retargeting campaign and sell your mastermind. And I will do it for free. Okay? Now, Russ said, okay, and by the way, at this point in time, like retargeting was new-ish. Not everybody has them like now. And so they sold a couple of masterminds. I don't know if they like crushed it till the end of time, but you know, Russ had some interest in it already. And this is, by the way, when Russell Brunson is at the peak of the ClickFunnels fame. He's probably like Alex Hormozi is in our industry is today. He's the most well-known person. And Justin is doing something for him for free. Now, what ended up coming down the road for Justin were twofold. Okay? Thing number one is Russ started referring him to other mastermind members. So he started making money directly off of that one free campaign. That's thing number one. Thing number two, he goes to run his own ads. Now, instead of saying, hey, I'm Justin and I do Facebook ads, he can say, look at this case study of what we did for Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson is status level 99 out of 100 in our industry at this time, maybe even like 100 out of 100. And so, like, it's automatically assumed Justin's fucking awesome because he's working with Russell Brunson. And so it makes it 1,000 times easier for him to go and recruit and sign clients, the best of the best, all because he wrote an ad that is never going to be as good of an ad he wrote on his own saying, I did a case study for Russell Brunson. So tell me that was a dumb idea to do it for free. Okay, so this is what screws people up. If you're going to do it for free, this is not to beg any client to just get a client for the sake of getting a client. You want to target Russell Brunson, Alex Hormozi, or as Paul mentioned, the fucking mayor, the guy who's like the top dog in the town, and everybody's going to go, oh, you do it for the mayor, right? So what we don't want to do is beg for business. So I've done this, for example, in the legal space. We had a little service for a while called Omnipresent Retargeting. Another friend of ours, Seth Price, has an amazing law firm and agency. We ran it for his law firm. And we did that because his law firm has major name recognition in the industry. So like, here's a case study of what we did for Price Benowitz is like saying, here's what we did for Alex Hormozy, or here's what we did for Gary Vee, or here's what we did for Russell Brunson, right? Like, we ain't begging, motherfuckers. We're doing this strategically. So if you choose to do it strategically, like I'm all for, do that shit for free. Do that shit for free, and you will like reap the benefit 100-fold down the line. What screws people up is, like I said, they do this as a begging thing. Now let's talk about what you should do for them. Okay? What you should do is not, I will get cold strangers off the street. What you should do is look at the segment that is closest to buying and run some sort of campaign to the people closest to buying. So in the case of Russell Brunson, Justin Brooke ran a retargeting campaign. Why? Because those are the people who already clicked on the mastermind and have demonstrated they have interest on it. A little bit of follow-up can be converted into the program without chasing, without all those things, right? So what we don't want to do is sign ourselves up for mountains and mountains of free work forever and ever till the end of time. What we want to do is take the segment that is already the closest to buying and going, how can we do something there to get them over the hump? And by the way, when you do that, when you start with people who are like most of the way to the sale, in Russell Brunson's case, they already clicked the fucking sales page. That's why you can retarget them in the first place. So instead of like going after cold strangers, let's go after the people who've shown an interest in this page. Ergo, they're like 95% of the way to the sale in like the spectrum of it. And so now we only got to move the ball 5 or 10 yards. So as long as you stick to those two things, where you're going after highly influential who, and you're not chasing cold strangers, but rather helping them with the resources they've already built that are closest to the sale, in essence, like you're taking them a short way, then doing free shit is one of the smartest things you can ever do. Where doing free shit is really fucking dumb, and this is what people do, is they take some stranger who's got a broken business, got a broken service, got a broken offer, and they don't know how to close sales, and they don't know how to do it, and then you beg them to kind of like, hey, let me work for you for free, and then it doesn't work out, and then you just end up pissed off and disappointed. And that's what typically happens, by the way. But most people, by the way, in our industry are not strategic. Jay Abraham said a strategic entrepreneur will crush a tactical entrepreneur in any given industry. And the difference, by the way, between being strategic and tactical is very simple. Tactic is usually one single step, and you try it, and it either works or doesn't. It's like binary, left or right, yes or no. Strategic is when you're thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves in advance, like a chess player, right? So Justin Brooke goes, I'm going to do this for free for Russell Brunson. If it works, on step 2, I'm going to ask for warm introductions to his mastermind folks. And on step 3, I'm going to run this as a paid ad as a case study. So now he's thinking 3 steps ahead, right? I'm going to do this for free. And if it works, 2 and 3 are going to be my reward on the other side. So a lot of people can't think 3 moves in advance. They go, no, I need to be paid. And that's called a job. And you will like suffer job fate if you need to like always be paid up front for everything you do. Because the flip side of that is if you get paid like a job and you have no ownership of the process, and this is, by the way, one of the things I intend to like at least open people up to in our industry. You know, one of the worst parts about running a job is not that like jobs suck. It's what happens if you work there and you make the company like $10 million. Often you don't even get a raise. You don't own any of the IP. So if you, like I was actually at Ford, like real life example, they used to cast engines, and there was a guy who created a process called the Cosworth process. I don't know all the details, except it was like better, faster, cheaper than anything else anybody had come up with in the industry. And Ford had patented it. And you know how much he made from that, like, you know, $100 million idea plus? 0. Doesn't even get a raise. He was a union worker, right? Can't get a raise. Your raises as a union worker and based entirely on seniority. So he made the company like, or saved them like with that process, $100 million and didn't even get a fucking extra paycheck out of it. Like, congrats. Sign over the rights. Go fuck yourself. So That's why I think like pricing yourself only as like a job in disguise, retainer, no ownership of the process is not very smart. So this is why like I think asking for equity when you can control the process is smart. Like what if the guy had said, "Hey, I'll give you this process for free, and if it works, I want 10%." He'd be 10 million probably retired from Ford many years ago. So we want to be strategic is my point. And one of the most strategic things you can do is get a share of equity and work with, and this requires a mental up leveling because it goes from thinking about, hey, if I could just get any client at all, to like I want to aim for the top people in the industry and go collaborate with them. It's like the dating equivalent of what a lot of people are doing is they're like, who do you want? I want any dentist, but that's like I want any female. Does that include crackheads? Does that include like, a heroin junkie prostitute? Because if like there are clients who are on that tier, by the way. There are clients who are like the crackhead equivalent, and yet people are like, I just want anyone. But what you really want to do is aim for the prom queen, the actress, So to Paul's point, bringing this back around, doing free shit is very, very intelligent when you're doing it for the prom queen, whatever, and you're limiting your downside by like when you think about Justin's case, the worst he was going to do, like the most amount of work he was ever going to do, and if he had never got paid a cent, was going to be to run a little retargeting campaign. How long is that retargeting campaign to take to set up? 10 minutes? An hour if you're like super fancy, right? So it wasn't like he was going to like sign himself up for decades of work. He signed himself up for a little bit of front end shit that could potentially have a big back end. And so if you look at this like investing, by the way, which all the smart people at the highest levels function like investors. Investors are going, how can I maximize my upside and minimize my downside? So in Justin's case, the downside, I'm going to do this one little rinky-dink campaign for Russell Brunson. It doesn't work out. I spent $50 on brownies, and I'm going to spend an hour of my time setting it up. There's the downside. Upside, he's going to refer me to his mastermind members. I'm going to end up with a case study ad that I can run forever and ever till the end of time and say, look at me working with the top guy. Like, upside is like 1,000x. Downside is $50 in an hour, right? And he probably could have done it without the brownies, by the way. The brownies are just a good way to get that guy's attention. So anyways, I just share that with you guys because if you can think about that strategically, there are people that make a lot of sense to do free shit for. Industry association leaders, person who wrote the book, the guy who runs the fucking conference in your industry, the mayor if you guys are doing shit locally, or the local celebrity, right? Just don't think about it as a small time, I wonder if I could just get any dentist. No, do it for the most fucking known dentist in the industry and minimize your downside and maximize your upside. Do the thing that's going to work the quickest for him or her, and then figure out how you can digitize that into like a case study or an asset so that you can use that name recognition. Like if I was trying to break into dentist, I don't even fucking know, but I would look up who are the top dentists in the whole thing, and I would go after like some of the top 5 guys that everybody knows and some of the most famous people in the industry, and I'd probably do some free shit for them, knowing that on step 2 and step 3, it's going to pay 1,000x dividends down the road. But a lot of people are too hung up and they can't do shit for free, and it's they have the whole wrong mindset about it, right? Like this is not a job. You don't get paid an hour and do 2 hours. Like that's I mean. You can run your business like a job. You're just never going to have the upside. When you create a $100 million idea, you ain't going to see a $10 million royalty check. You're going to still be working on the factory line. Is that really what you want? I think most of you guys are really after freedom. And the easiest, by the way, the easiest people to help in your industry are the people who are at the top because they got the most amount of moving pieces, the most amount of assets to work with, but they got the most amount of problems too because they're publishing so much shit. Like I was just at JC and Karen's event. JC and Karen Height, and called Scale Stability in Searcy, Arkansas. And I had a little private chat with them because I used to be part of running big legal events in the industry. And we were talking about all the shit that goes wrong. Like there's always a fucking cable missing. Right before somebody's got to do a presentation, like there's no fucking working cable. Or, somebody got a flight miss. Your head fucking speaker, like their flight is delayed. Now what do? We got to rearrange the whole event and the whole conference and the whole times. Or this person's got a peanut allergy, or, hotel missed this, hotel missed that, like on and on and on. There's just endless amount of shit, right? That comes up last minute. Like, and I just say that because movers and shakers in your industry got more problems, not less. More problems, not less. So when you come in and you do some free shit and you help them and you make them some money, like, you get the ultimate case study. Like, I just think, like, if I was trying to sell to all the beginner internet marketers, I'd go do some free shit for Gary Vee and Alex Hormozi, and I'd be set forever. Hey, look at this case study of what I did for Gary Vee. Look at this case study of what I did for Alex Hormozi. And I would do something that's like close to the sale, moves the needle for them quickly, limit my downside to an hour. Like, that shit don't ever go out of style, just so you know. All right, I'm rambling on this one, but just because I feel extra passionate about it, because, man, like, it's pretty life-changing when you figure out, like, free shit is actually the gateway to tons of paid shit. Anyways, this one is from Anonymous. All you guys love to be anonymous. I assume it means you have no pants on. He says, Frankie Fihn, can you share your tools and tech stack for developing and launching AI tools? By the way, just saying for the 20th time that Facebook's doing that thing where I don't see your comments. I will see them after this live is finished, but I'll go back and respond to them because I appreciate you guys. All right. So tech stack is very, very uncomplicated. Just so you know, there's a reason why I use the word micro tools. Micro tools. Not macro. Macro is like big. That's like software. Go high level is like a macro solution. Like, how many different things can you build in high level? Like, a lot. I just want one little teeny tiny thing that solves one little teeny tiny problem. When I say teeny tiny problem, it actually might be a big problem, but it's just, a narrow range is probably a setup. So 98% of what we're using is ChatGPT. Here's my tool. And by the way, just to give you guys a little bit of backstory about this. I was Cabo San Lucas, which is 2 hours from here. So it's a big touristy spot, and every now and then I have like big shot lawyers who fly in and they go there, and I go hang out with some of my old clients and current clients and movers and shakers in that industry because I like it. And when I go there, a lot of times I'm sitting there talking to those people, and I'm just having conversations like, how you doing? Like, I was thinking, well, my all-time favorite client, I was talking to him and was asking him, like, he'd had a superstar divorce lawyer. So this is common in their industry where they have a big personal injury practice, but they run a little bit of divorce cases because personal injury, you're always waiting 6, 12, 18 months to get paid. Divorce brings in immediate cash, helps fund the bigger area of your practice. I was asking him, just, how's the divorce area of your practice going? And he told me, like, all the problems they were having because his superstar divorce lawyer quit. And he's talking about all this paperwork and all this bureaucracy and all these problems that they had. And in my head, every time he said something, I was like, man, you could get AI to do that. You can get AI to do that too. You can get AI to do that too. You could get AI to do that one too. I don't know about that one, but I bet you AI could assist you with it. And so I just said to him, like, do you want to just build one of these? Like, we can have AI create a solution for you. Are you interested in it? And his response was like, yeah, let's fucking try it. And I just said, I'll make it for you, totally for free. I just have one condition, which is very simple. I own all the IP, so I can rent it to other attorneys who have the same problem as you. Is that cool? That's cool. So just I ask you don't rent it to my direct competition. No problem. I'll rent it to other people. So the first thing, and this is the thing people miss, is you have to start with an annoying, repetitive problem. And there's only so many ways you can find that out. My favorite way is to go into communities and either, one, read comments for like 20, 30 minutes and just see the annoying, repetitive shit people are doing, or two, ask. Sounds really simple, but tell me about some annoying, repetitive problem. And also, if you're in an industry where maybe it's not so easy to do that, you can actually ask ChatGPT, like, what are annoying, repetitive things they have to do? And what marketers, by the way, mostly do is they focus in on the problems that are marketing and sales related. How do I get more clients? How do I get more customers? How do I beat this competitor? I'm getting a lot of tire kickers. I'm not saying those things aren't valuable. They are. But I think the real opportunity is the boring shit that is related to fulfillment. So like I was looking in the restoration community the other day, and I was showing people there's all this tedious shit they have to do to fill out forms and paperwork in a software called Xactimate, which gives like a line-by-line update that they then submit to an insurance company and say, here's what we did. Well, don't you think that's kind of repetitive? Don't you think that's kind of tedious? And don't you think AI could do that better than a human? So to me, all we're really doing is going, hey, let's load up a custom GPT to solve this. Here's another simple one, is every time they submit those things, almost always the insurance company fights them and they have to reply and do the explanation. And again, it's repetitive writing those messages. So if we made a tool that handled those replies for them, help them write them out in a diplomatic, unemotional way. Excuse me. A lot of times when the insurance company's playing their game, and they don't want to pay you, your tendency is to want to write, fuck off, right? ChatGPT can do that a lot nicer than you can, and a lot more diplomatic and get you paid faster, right? So what we can do is line by line by line, like create tools that do the responses for them, right? So those are just some examples, right? Like if you go into a community and just fucking read the boring, tedious, repetitive shit that they're already talking about, or B, ask them. Like, there's going to be no shortage of ideas. And if you can't find those discussions, ask ChatGPT and tell it your intentions. I intend to make a micro tool that solves one of these problems. Give me a list of annoying problems that they have. And of these, which ones do you think are the best candidates for creating AI micro tools as a solution? Lo and behold, it'll give you the fucking answer, right? So you can actually use AI to find the problem. You can use AI to create the solution. And you can also use it to like program itself. So like when I create a custom GPT, for example, I just load up the app and I hit record on this baby and I start talking to it. So like it's got a microphone button. You can just go like, hey, I'm trying to create an AI micro tool for water damage restoration companies that responds to the messages the insurance company gives them when they're dicking them around and trying not to pay them. I would like for you to help me create the prompt for this GPT. I would like for you to help me create the conversation starter. Before we begin, can you ask me some questions to make sure we're on the same page and get the best possible output? I click send. It's going to ask me some questions. Like, we're 5 minutes away from having a tool that revolutionizes the entire fucking industry. And I'll tell you what helps me is to define the input. So I want to know what I want to put in. In this case, the input is a letter from the insurance company or an email from the insurance company. The output, the response. And then the stuff that goes in the middle is what are the things that matter. So it says, what kind of messages do they typically get? So stalling, denying, and underpaying. And it asks if we can provide a few examples. So I probably asked the community for some examples. Who is responding? The owner. What's the goal of the response? Push back professionally, correct? Do you want to auto-generate the reply or give reply options, templates, suggestions? We wanted to write the whole reply. Should the tone be strictly formal? Or do you want it to have edge and bite while staying legally safe? Let's keep it formal. Are there any other compliance or legal or formatting requirements? I would probably ask the community that. And will this be embedded into an app used on a website or just used inside of ChatGPT directly? In my case, I'd probably embed it in an app that they would have to pay for. And if you want to embed it in an app, simplest way to do that is Pickaxe. Pickaxe is just a tool that makes it very easy to embed a custom GPT on a website. So that's it. Now you're up to speed. You know how to make micro tools that solve problems. I hope that that helps. But if you're making big, complicated stuff, like we have some things we're building out with N8N, I'm not that smart with it. Shout out to Carl Hitchborn and a couple other people who are helping me with some tools, Martin Frelly. But for the most part, like most of you guys, you don't need that complex shit. Like in their case, they're replying to the insurance company over and over. They're writing these fucking goddamn forms over and over and over. Like that's just a simple GPT. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. Think about MVP. Like, yeah, okay, somebody might steal it and stuff down the line, but I don't really worry about that, to be honest with you. I can create stuff faster than people can copy me anyway. So for you guys, like this is like bringing this roundabout to that earlier question. Start with people's needs. Build a simple tool. And by the way, you don't have to save the world. It just has to be better than what they're doing. So even if this thing doesn't write perfect emails, it's like it's going to be better than what they're doing now, which is writing those out by hand over and over and over and over. Right? Like, we can set that up. Make that fucking super easy for them. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys on this Monday edition of the weekly Q&A. Just as I mentioned before we get started, I have a course that we're going to launch this week. It's all about like really eliminating churn and getting people to stay. The retention is the real game, by the way. The more you have clients month after month paying you and not canceling, the better your agency is going to be. And there's really only a couple things that go into that. There is, blowing them away in the first 24 hours, making it super easy to get their data, engineering a fast win, like being proactive about the communication, painting a picture of the vision and the expectations of what's to come, and then just, making clients feel cool and appreciated and all that. So we're going to systematize and organize that for you guys. And that's all I got for you guys in this Monday edition. As I mentioned, the comments don't show up for me right now. It sometimes just doesn't do that live. But I appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the other side. Happy Monday. Mucho love, mucho amore, and may the force be with you.
Buy my book, or I will tell your barista you secretly love decaf but don't have the courage to tell her.